Many thanks for staying with us. Now, as the recently inaugurated President of Ghana, John Mahama, steps into office once again, we explore the significance of his speech, his esteemed guests, including Burkina Faso leader Ibrahim Traoré, and what these developments mean for Ghana's international relations. There are also growing calls and sentiments about Africa's shift towards a more youthful and dynamic leadership in the continent. And this comes following interesting reactions from the Ghanaian youths about the presence of the current head of state of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and Ghana's relationship with Burkina Faso growing stronger. What exactly does this mean for the future of West African diplomacy? And as young people across the continent demand more representation and accountability from their leaders, we explore the implications as well for governance in Africa. And the question remains, have the youth truly awakened to that? And now to discuss this, we're joined by a political analyst and a research associate, Durban University of Technology, Dr. Omololu Fagbadibo. Thank you so much, Dr. Fagbadibo, for joining us. Now let's start.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Let's start with the rousing welcome by Ghana's youth to Burkina Faso's leader that the admiration from the crowd, especially the youth. What is your take on the level of welcome that he has received, especially from a budding population, you see, the youth that is?
Thank you so much. The rousing welcome of Traoré in Ghana was a welcome idea, and it was an indication that youth all over Africa, not only in Ghana, would prefer a leader who is progressive in terms of policy, in terms of promoting the welfare of citizens, as Traoré is doing in Burkina Faso. We've seen a change in Burkina Faso in terms of the leadership style. He has not shown the trait of a dictator that characterize civilian leadership in Africa, in most African countries. So the rousing welcome was an indication that, look, this is a young guy who is committed to the promotion of the interest of citizens of Burkina Faso, that we welcome him. It's an indication of the failure of leadership in Africa, because African youth are tired of all these crises of governance being perpetrated by the octogenarian leaders that parade in Africa. It was an indication of a positive change. Yeah.
Okay, so very quickly, I'm curious, do you think that the change in style of leadership, especially now that we see a lot of people more considerate about the interests of the youth, has anything to do with the fact that the youth have suddenly awakened to the fact that they are more powerful in terms of decision-making and governance than they actually think?
I think what has helped the youth to arise then is, I will consider as the development in ICT, which had opened up the barriers that we have. The globalization has turned our eyes to see what is happening in other countries. And as a result, they've discovered that, okay, well, youth have power. They have the power to hold government accountable, like what we have in Sudan, like what the Arab Spring. So I think what is happening now is the youth coming to realize that, okay, well, if our leaders have failed, it is time for us to take up this gauntlet. It is time for us to protest, and it is time for us to ensure that, okay, well, we can do it better. We need a better system of government that will serve the interest of citizens. And I think the awareness is more and more now. The reawakening of the youth in participation in politics is ripe, and it's been demonstrated all over. We had it in Senegal. That's why we have a youth person in Senegal. That's what we've seen. Yes, I see that as a rising horizon for African youth to take up the challenge of accountability and good governance. Yep.
Great. Now that we've established that, how exactly would you characterize the current relationship between Ghana and Burkina Faso? What would you say are the key factors that drive this relationship?
One, the government in Ghana is new. And the factor that led to the Burkina Faso, Mali, and then for leaving ECOWAS was because of the reaction to the coup, not to the crisis of governance created by the preceding governments in those states. And I think that's what angered Burkina Faso and Mali and the other party to leave ECOWAS. So I see it for Mahama is just an opportunity to bring back the old relationship. I'm not sure he's talking about ECOWAS now, but he's looking at the interaction between Ghana and Burkina Faso. The progressive idea, the progressive relationship among them is trying to revive that diplomatic relationship with Burkina Faso, and then to ensure that we can work together positively without, whether you are in the military or you are in the civilian, we can work together because they see progressive ideas in Burkina Faso. But for Ghana, for the new president in Ghana, it's an opportunity for it to extend its tentacle of its foreign policy to be accommodating of all neighboring countries. And I think that is good for Ghana, not discriminating whether Burkina Faso is a military regime. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with what are we going to benefit in terms of our diplomatic relationship, in terms of trade, in terms of getting rid of crises in the continent. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us to discuss this very pivotal conversation.